So I was just about to fall asleep and I decided against it because I suddenly wanted to make, well, sort of not so suddenly. I've been thinking a lot and my brain is not exactly full, but I thought since I had the idea and I'm still working on the video for that one silly mobile game and it's been a while, I thought I would just talk about something a little candidly it's been up there, it's been buzzing. So, internet misery. Internet misery hits just entirely different, honestly, from real life misery. It hits differently in the way that it's kind of in the worst way, so much less impactful, or you feel it so much less in the moment because obviously online and content and the internet as a whole is such a mine of dopamine, and dopamine doesn't always have to come from something positive. It will often come from something negative, in fact, online. And we have this whole idea of, it's always been a thing, obviously, but now it's given a new name, rage bait. And that has been kind of just all up in my algorithm. I try to keep it out of there. My algorithm is pretty dynamic, so that kind of helps. But it rotates often. And I realized that the whole idea of internet misery and the fact that I'm watching a lot of rage bait has gone over my head for a while. And for all the time I spent thinking, that was kind of surprising to me. So I thought I would draw attention to just the fact that even on Christmas Day, when I'm supposed to eat it, I did eat a lot. I had some really good food that my mom made, and I enjoyed my time playing some games and talking to friends and telling people that I actually telling people I love them, thanking them for things, and enjoying the actual moments that I have in real life instead of enjoying, just the gift aspect. Also, I realized I didn't even acknowledge the fact that all the lighting's bad on this video because I didn't feel like turning on the light. I actually thought I could do something cool with the lighting, but I did not. Anyway, yeah, even on Christmas Day, it was like I was just thinking about, because this Christmas I wanted to specifically take an entire day to just think positively because I realize there is too much negativity just in my mind. I don't talk to a lot of people IRL. I feel like most people don't. So I don't really know or have a scope of how people usually deal with negativity or how much they rant about things or are outwardly complaining about anything that's going on in the world. I imagine it's a decent bit, but I know for a fact online, everybody is now inside talking about hot topics of, socioeconomic things and just all of that shit that's going on. And obviously, given the past 3 or so videos I've made, I'm not gonna shy away from talking about that. But I realized that it's kind of, I probably did mention before, it's a little bit of a hyperfixation. It's kind of one of the main things I do to a little bit of a detrimental extent, possibly. I am angry quite often about quite a lot of things, to the point where a lot of my friends, my online friends and IRL friends, are sometimes just surprised. Not even sometimes, almost every time I say something positive, are just jarred and surprised by it. And it's like, I'm always confused by that, or at least I was before. I just took a day to be positive and think more positive thoughts and check myself on how often I'm mentioning something negative. And now I really get it. I get it, and I don't get it. Because I am positive sometimes. Everybody is positive sometimes, but it's like I am positive very quietly compared to how often I bitch, moan, and scream about everything that really gets on my nerves. Because, things get on my nerves to a greater extent than I enjoy anything, really. Honestly, I enjoy things very subtly, very quietly, and it's really easy for me to stop enjoying something. It's really easy for me to be unimpressed. I'm not easily impressed by most things, really. I am critical of everything. I take everything with a grain of salt. I kind of predict the worst of every situation. I am hyper aware, hyper vigilant, and I'm not going to imply that all of these are terrible qualities. Perhaps they're good survival qualities to have. But when it consumes your life, I think even if in the context of the greater world, it's maybe best to be that way. I think you should give yourself a break. Maybe take like a day at some point. If it's a special day, like a holiday, you know, obviously I did that and that would be fine. Or if it's maybe like one day a week or something, if you spend a lot of time online just looking and consuming terrible news or even good news, there has to always be a balance emotionally. And I am as much telling myself this as I am telling you this. Because I want you to be happy. And it's really hard to when you're just constantly, especially if you're like in the constant mode of like, I need to have people informed. I need to make sure, I need to be one of the reasons that the world gets better. I need to always mediate. I need to interject and intervene. And sometimes you don't. I won't even say most times because even I feel like that's going too far. Like, obviously, I've thought a lot about it and I cannot know the line totally because the scope is only kind of so far as you are going and what spaces you put yourself in online. And I'm not in a lot of servers, and that is one reason. Like on Discord or I'm not on a lot of social media in general. I deleted every social media a long time ago. I never fucked with Instagram. I never even close to fuck with Facebook. Like you are never gonna catch me on that. I don't care how good it is, bad it is. Just never. I don't fuck with Mark. Um, I don't fuck with Elon Musk. I was on Twitter a little bit before Elon Musk acquired it, but even then, not really. I was like not up for it. Blue Sky, it came off as very like friendly, and since it was new, it was gonna be less infested with hatred and stuff. So in a sense, I do go to places or stay away from places that have a lot of hate, and I go to places that have less. And that is one of the reasons I think I find myself angry because kind of no matter what you do online, you're going to be angered a lot, or you're going to be stimulated a lot by something, and then that's going to end, and it's immediately going to be the next thing. And it's especially painful for people like me who already kind of isolate themselves as much as possible so that I can be insulated from as much of the negative as possible. That makes it hurt all the more when it still finds me, and that sucks. But so at that point, it's just like, and it even got to a point where I was like, maybe I should just leave Discord too, and like, I don't know, maybe I'll still make that choice at some point, but it's not all that serious. I mean, Discord, for all its flaws, is still one of the places where you can most have the say in what you interact with and who you interact with. And that's not really like praise for the platform. To be honest, that's just the bare minimum that every platform should implement. And Discord has gotten simultaneously better and worse about it. Mostly just stayed the same or gotten better. So, um, aside from the site itself stealing your privacy with more and more scummy tactics, which whole rabbit hole I don't even need to get into. But to get back on topic, I also said in the past video that it was inspirational to me that a lot of people were, kind of blowing up recently. I think it's mostly people that have been on the site for a while, and I've actually been here for like 8 years, mostly as a watcher, sometimes as a creator and coach, because mostly I just upload clips of games. Yeah, I hate the human body so much. I need a new vessel. But mostly out of making clips of games because I just, I told all that story. Like, I just was not confident enough to be a creator and put my face to things or any kind of thing adjacent to my face, even like this mask. But when I was taking this whole, break, I realized that in a way it's not as inspirational because, this is not even to take this to a negative extent, which is something else that like when you're critical of everything, everything will turn negative, even if it's mostly positive. And sometimes you might have to gaslight yourself a little bit and to just like not gaslight, but acknowledge something negative in your internally, and then outwardly just try to enjoy it. And be critical, prioritize being in a healthy mind state, I guess. In a way, it's like I hope other people have noticed too and not gotten lost in the whole cycle of everything. People need to talk about everything that's going on. They need to talk about Trump. They need to talk about how just America is an entire like Nazi circle jerk, and it kind of always has been, and it just even more so is hard. People need to be online to find joy across the world in the way of good news, because we're all, in a meta sense, we've all just been like passively forced inside to be online and to be overstimulated, right? It's like that is a part of all of this. That is a part of all the propaganda and the public safety going down. And AI taking over and taking a bunch of jobs. Is we're now being condensed onto the internet, and most likely the thing that's like coming from that is one of the most harmful is we are all just kind of being farmed even more so, like for data and for outrage and for numbers and for money. um I know people do this both sides shit all the time, but either side of the political aisle and even the center, especially the center, anywhere on the spectrum, because it's all still because we still live under capitalism. At all times, someone is monetizing your every emotion that they can get from you from making their content. Um, you know, all the sponsorships, because everybody needs to make money. So to an extent, there is a little bit of cognitive dissonance that has to be had there, or there has to be some respect and care and parasocial connection to people who share similar ideas to you, so that you can hold on to what you feel is positive and not feel slighted by the fact that they're obviously still making money off of you and, in a sense, rage baiting you, even if they claim or really do share the same ideas as you. They're still in a symbiotic relationship with you that kind of veers parasitic, right? It's it's all the same thing, and sometimes they kind of just say fuck shit. Like, I want to address the DEI thing. I'm gonna be real. I need to do research, and I will correct this in a future video. This is just spur of the moment thoughts. I am not stating this as fact, but I think that the way leftists in my sphere of YouTube talk about DEI and the removal of it is a little bit stupid. It is really stupid to dismiss it with the common thing of like, it was mostly benefiting white women, and it was mostly used as a talking point for right wingers, and it was these kind of things, and kind of a similar thing with Obamacare. I may or may not put an actual clip or something to make an example of this. I hate this take because, for one, I don't care who it was mostly benefiting, okay? Like, I kind of do care. But DEI as a thing was never going to mostly benefit oppressors, and if it ever got to that point, we would say something about it. The system was better here than not here. And any way you want to dismiss it to cope is possibly disingenuous. I don't care that it mostly benefited white women. In fact, that's good. White women are just women. I don't assume the worst of all of them. I am prepared to distrust white people. I'm gonna be for real. But I do not distrust all of them just on reaction and visage. I definitely am not going to distrust a bunch of theoretical white women that it was mostly benefiting. I don't know why that matters. More women in the workplace is great, really great. Other women have the protection and the safety and the familiarity of women in the workspace. There are less men. There's so many benefits to it. But I don't want to ramble too much, and I'm already like on tangent 1000. Um, it was a good system, and it benefited actual minorities. It probably benefited me, to be honest, because I am so neurotic about so many things. I am not cut out for conventional work at all. I know there are a lot of people in the world who relate to the feeling of not being able to put on faces and pretend for anybody, especially not employers. When you have hatred in your heart for real for someone, it'll always show on your face. And if you're nervous as hell about doing something like an interview, it will always show in your actions and your face. You notice how, like, in these videos, I've been probably doing some cringe shit, and I've been kind of fine with it, and I post it anyway. And I leave in edits of me, like, stuttering and stumbling over my words because I feel like I am doing something I care about, and I feel like I am talking to people that I am either directly familiar with, or I can get to know, or will watch me and share a different opinion or something on a human level. Even if there's a screen separating us, I do think you are more human than any employer I've ever sat directly across from face to face and did an interview with because, I mean, one, the obvious, they're just lying. They're just trying to trip you up on things. It's so stressful. It's so stressful and enraging, and it scrambles the fuck out of my brain. And it always shows. And that in a sense, even though it was like super rambly, ties into all of what I'm saying because all of that and that kind of experience is pushing us here, and now you are here looking at me explain this to you and basically condense tons and tons and tons and tons and tons of hours, years, weeks, days, months into this video, however long this is, and then regurgitate it back at you instead of being able to go experience it. Instead of being able to find me in real life or find someone else, another black person, another trans woman, another person wearing a mask all the time because they think it's cute or cool, and a ghost face shirt. You're sitting here watching it virtually, and I am planning to make a career online, or I guess, if not a career, have it as a hobby or in some kind of side hustle, and be sustainable. And in return, I give you content of, condensing all of my failures and fumbles. It's all entertaining. But that just kind of like sucks, doesn't it? In a meta sense, it is the part that I am most upset about, is that it has to be this, and I couldn't just go through the motions of like getting a shitty 9 to 5 job, because at least if I was in real life getting a shitty 9 to 5 job in retail, I would hate it, but I would do what I was originally gonna do. I would hate it a little bit, have experiences, have stories to tell when I come to YouTube, or have stories to tell in real life when I go do something else. Maybe instead of having my job taken by AI, I make a career in game development and programming, or engineering, or something of that such. I like technology quite a bit, but it's like the difference between taking the time to do that and being able to learn and grow at your own pace, isolate yourself when you need it, and go outside and force yourself to do the job when you need to all that being stopped short this year And now we're all kind of doing the same thing, right? The best way to get a message out is online. All of us are online. All of us are just in despair. And I don't know. To think about that is wild. I I guess I'll just leave you with that thought. Honestly, if if the one day I took to just be positive led me to conclusions like these, um, maybe it will for you too. I am not overly profound, so maybe not. Maybe you don't really care what I said. But I recommend considering it a little bit, and definitely look for other people that kind of make you consider different ideas. And I know outside is scary as fuck right now, but if you can do anything that's out of your comfort zone, even if you have to do something out of your comfort zone that's on the inside, like I don't know, challenge yourself to um, fucking quit a game that had a toxic monetization model and see how that makes you feel. If you're if you're not somebody who doesn't like capitalism and doesn't actually like the system or doesn't like that they have to participate in it, do something like that. Try and actually reflect and change a behavior. And I don't know, go to your local library, check around your area. I know I talked about earlier in the video like not being on social media. I'm not on Reddit either. I didn't even mention that shit because it's so relevant to me. But I do occasionally open Reddit and like because it's usually one of those things that like the internet Google and other browsers thinks is somehow generally informative when it's really hit and miss. Really hit and miss to put it mildly. I made a post on there and just kind of asked how many people like me are in where I live. I'm not gonna dox myself, but and it actually got responses. That was cool. That was like a little bit of a look into a look through the lens of the internet back into real life where I am. Do something like that maybe. Try to close the gap between this little box here that we've been forced into to I mean this shit might be life or death for some people. Try to retain your humanity. Um don't engage with AI, please. I know people will say like, oh, there are some uses for AI that is good. To be real, no. Engage with it as little as possible. Seek out if you ever see AI art or something, or if you search up some kind of art of a character or something you love or whatever, and you see AI, make an effort to specifically search out real art from real people and verify it if you can. If you can't, just kind of let it go. Um, Practice resilience and Merry Christmas. And I don't know, I hope you find hope. And I hope that you don't give up on yourself because now is not the time to. Now is not the time to get into the cycle of rage online or any kind of cycle. No cycle of joy either. Find real joy. And that's kind of it. Inara, I think I think they have something to say. What do you want to say?
Hello, I am alive. Sometimes I think about weather and there's so much nature to absorb, but it doesn't like you can't comprehend what's happening. There's like hurricanes and tornadoes, but there's also the nice side of it, like peaceful rain and like sunshine, rainbows. Have you ever been in the middle of a blizzard? It's super cold, but also if you have like a fireplace, you can just turn it on, get under a blanket, sleep. I like sleeping, except I don't do very much. Uh, what do you think about snow?
Oh,